Hello, John Lord here in my garden, and we're going to talk about spring flowering stuff. But before that, I'll just mention something I did about 5 minutes ago while I was waiting for David to get the camera ready. I planted this eucalyptus, and you have to, when you plant stuff, it's always a good idea when you buy it is to have a look at the label, because someone's went to the trouble to write the label, and you would think that they'd go to the trouble of making sure everything written on the label is correct. Now this is the eucalyptus. It's a new variety. It's called gunnii, which is the most common eucalyptus you see in Europe, but it's called France bleu, and it's supposed to be particularly small grower, small leafed one, so I thought it would be nice there. It's bluey colour, and behind you have the purple colour of the weeping beech, so I thought it might be a nice combination. But on the back of the label it says foliage colour blue, okay. Foliage period all year, okay. It's evergreen. Size in 5 years, 100 centimetres. Now what's 100 centimetres? About 100 centimetres. So it's either going to start shrinking or somebody wants to go back to school. So just to point out that labels, even when they're printed and glossy and the whole lot, are not always correct. Now we're going to give it a drop of water. Here's an important point. It's a very important point. You're planting trees, buying a garden centre that are in a container. Normally these are field grown trees, they're grown in a field, they're dug up in the winter and they're banged into containers. And normally it's done very quickly, and I find 9 times out of 10 they are planted too deeply. For a variety of reasons. One reason is if you don't plant them deeply, they'll fall over in the containers. They're planted too deeply. So when you planted it in the ground, make sure to find out where the actual level was when it was in the field, because otherwise you might end up planting it too deeply, and it's not good, particularly for sorbus or for eucalyptus. Now I ended up taking about that much soil off the top of that before I planted it, because it's always important to plant high as you can, and you stabilise it with a stake. Now that is a good, very important tip. Never go by the top of the container. Always look, particularly if it's freshly potted, where the peat or whatever they use, the compost, is not full of roots. You can often find that the actual stem, where the stem joins the roots, could be halfway down in the container, and that's an important point. We're going to look at what we did last week. Planted these silver curry plants because it's south facing and it's bone dry, and I had them 2 or 3 days down, and I thought to myself they're a bit stiff or a bit strong, so I'm going to take them up and I'm going to replace them with Artemisia Powis, which is much fluffier, much more cloudy and airy. So we're going to take all of them up and replant them. You make a mistake, so what? The great thing about having a garden centre is that we'll take them up and we'll bang them into pots and we can sell them and get our money back, plus labour. And besides, we're going to plant this Erigeron Sea Breeze. It's a very, very long flowering plant. It has to be in the sun, never plant it in the shade. Any type of plant generally where you see sea on it, sea breeze, sea whatever, it's a seaside plant. Seaside plants generally grow in situations where there's lots of wind and rain and everything, but there's plenty of sun and openness. They like lots of light. If you don't get light, they get open looking, and they sort of try to go for the light, and they look scrawny. So if you want to keep them tight, plant seaside plants in open situations. So they're going to be. So we're going to have silver here. We're going to have green leaves here with nice pink and silver. It's a good match. And then we're going to put a grassy plant next, just for difference. That's Kniphofia, caulescens, my favourite Kniphofia. Because unlike most Kniphofias, which are red hot pokers, foliage is good. Most Kniphofias have very poor foliage. This has very good foliage. It's like a yucca. And then we're going to finish off with a few flat geraniums. That's on Thomson, very vivid. which is perfect. Look how good it's going to come out over the gravel, and it's a good contrast with the gravel. Well, that's, when we finish filming, that's my bit of work to do today.